It is a interesting time as we're approaching 48 hours from kickoff in Norman, Oklahoma, between Alabama and Oklahoma. Was watching all the big shows, including Get Up, on the national screens in front of me as we were preparing for the show. And that was a big talking point. It was all Alabama. There was no Oklahoma talk. And Greeny was asking the panel and everyone else, well, first question was, what's at stake for Kalen DeBoer in this game? The second question was, what's at stake for Ty Simpson in this game? Other question was, how does Alabama, maybe it was what's at stake for Alabama, or how can Alabama get back on track? So let's take the stake questions first. What's at stake for Kalen DeBoer in this game?
A lot. I mean, back-to-back 4-loss seasons wouldn't be good. I mean, Nick Saban had, one 4-loss season in 17 years? I know we're comparing him with the greatest ever, but I'm just saying the table was ready. Everything was cooked. The meal was put in front of Kalen DeBoer. And, look, I think Kalen DeBoer is one of the best coaches in all of college football, but the facts are the facts. It would be back-to-back 4-loss seasons. It would feel like they didn't even get to a college football playoff based on the fact that they lost to Georgia in bad fashion, and this will be the second time in basically a month you've lost to a helpless offense in Oklahoma.
I read Matt Hayes' article today at USA Today. I saw that this morning, and it basically painted a picture of an Alabama fan base, which Matt's very good at what he does. Matt's been on the show before. We like Matt.
The headline of that says, forget Michigan talk. Kalen DeBoer can't afford another Oklahoma loss.
Yeah, which is exactly the well-written headline that pulled me in, because I'm like, can't afford? What are we talking about here? What's Matt suggesting? I know, the writer doesn't write the headlines, I'm always told, but what is Matt suggesting with Kalen DeBoer can't afford another Oklahoma loss? I'm like, I don't know what we're talking about here. So, of course, I go read the article. And Matt paints a picture of a Alabama fan base that is already restless, and even making an SEC championship game and a college football playoff appearance doesn't cure the restlessness. And losing a third time to Oklahoma would pull a scab off of a wound. These are my words, not Matt's, but it's basically what he's saying. A scab off a wound that would create a difficult situation for Kalen DeBoer. Now, Matt never in the article insinuates DeBoer will be fired or anything like that. He's just painting a picture of an extremely restless fan base with the Alabama coaching staff if they lose this game Friday night.
Yeah, and when there were athletic directors and powers that be boosters in Tuscaloosa that allowed that fan base to sort of direct the control the direction of the program and coaching hires and firings. You went from 1979 national championship all the way till 1992, and then you went from 1992 all the way to 2009, when you made a lot of firings, a lot of bad hires because the fans wanted this guy or the fans didn't like this guy. You need an Alabama guy. You need a Bear Bryant guy. We don't need an Alabama guy. We needed somebody new. You can't let the fans control the narrative, but it is another big game for Kalen DeBoer because it's a playoff game. It's a chance to take the program back into the national relevance. I think you get there by being in the playoffs, but it's an expanded playoff. It's not where Alabama's used to being. They're used to being in the Final Four, the Final Two. This at least gets you back to a New Year's Day. That's what's unique about this, guys. I was thinking about this the other day. If Alabama loses this game, then all of bowl season is going to be played without Alabama, basically. I mean, congratulations. We'll talk about it in a minute. But to last night's bowl game and the two we got happening tonight. But these are the teams that are used to playing on Tuesday and Wednesday nights.
That's right.
The big bowl games are still coming up, and the big teams are still out there to play. And the losers this weekend, they don't play in those January 1st or New Year's Eve bowl games because they're eliminated from the playoffs and they're not playing on those days. So a win in this game gets you in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, and realistically, you look at Tulane, if they lose, hey, look, it was a great season. James Madison, they lose.
Oh, yeah.
Great season.
It's already a great season.
Even Miami, Mario Cristobal, I know Miami fans aren't going to be excited about it, but, they're a 4.5 point dog right now in College Station. They lose, not a big deal. Oklahoma loses. You're building. Like, it's been inconsistent, 6 wins, 10 wins, 6 wins, 10 wins, but you still got to a college football playoff under Venables. It just will feel different with Alabama.
I would say, though, that Alabama, they don't like to hear it, but it is a build since Nick Saban, though. I mean, Kalen DeBoer's first year with all the portal exits and a new everything, and then you do make it to the playoffs this year. It is a gradual build forward, but you're right. It doesn't feel the same at Alabama. Alabama's not in the build business, at least this point in time. Miami is. They're back in the playoffs. Those group of fives, big season. Oklahoma, Brent Venables, yes. I mean, you can. Indiana still feels better this year than it did last year. Yeah. Ohio State's got to win it all, or they're in the Alabama syndrome. They're in the Nick Saban Alabama syndrome. Anything other than winning it all again, Ohio State's disappointed.
Georgia too.
Yeah, just real quick, LT's neighbor in the chat room says the national media has been really weird the last few weeks about all this. They are forcing a story way overplaying where the fan base stands.
I agree with this. I agree with
that. I disagree with this.
Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah,
I
think if Alabama loses, I mean, the fan base is still indifferent. I was at a party the other night and people were like, I just don't know about this DeBoer. I'm like, dude, he is a legitimate coach. He has won everywhere he's been. He's got you in the college football playoff. And go with your point, because I got another one I want to make on this.
I was going to say Alabama fans got pissed at Saban for losses, so let's don't pretend like they didn't get pissed at Saban. I mean, they would criticize Saban. Nick Saban's the best that's ever done it, and he caught criticism for not calling timeouts, not doing this, not doing that. So that's just life of an Alabama coach.
But he never lost more than 2 games.
Yeah, but that's
irrelevant.
I love
Nick Saban. He didn't coach in this era.
Yeah, I mean, it is a different ball game.
I mean, he did 1 year, 2 years.
But not it was enough to run him off. I mean, it's a different ball game right now. I'm not going to deny that.
I mean, Texas Tech is a financial player at the table. The Heisman was 1-2 Indiana and Vandy. It's a different world.
No, hey, look, and I agree, and this is why you got to figure out, like, how invested are you in football? Like, we are known as, like, I think if you went around the country and just asked, like, what is the craziest, like, most passionate, program out there, I think a lot of people would say Alabama. Look, if you really want to win, and I know, look, the collective, I do Bama and Bourbon with Aaron, and I know they bust their ass and they work hard, and you're only limited by what resources you've got. But, like, Texas Tech is the ultimate example. If you spend enough, you're going to be really, really good.
Yeah. Alabama has to work hard, is your point.
Yeah. They don't have a billionaire.
Places at Michigan and Ohio State don't have to work as hard.
But I read Shannon Terry.
That's why that Michigan job is very attractive.
Well, you say that, and Larry Ellison is the reason a lot of people say that. Larry Ellison is
second richest person on the planet.
Second richest person on the planet. He's a Michigan grad. Now, I don't know his level of interest in Michigan football.
It doesn't have to be a lot.
Well, some of the stories I've read make it sound like he paints his face. I don't know.
But speaking of interest, he probably has enough he makes monthly on interest just to fund an NIL and never even.
I wish I could find
this. He just needs a little interest, Brown.
But I was reading Shannon Terry. We all know Shannon, right? On 3, Shannon's. Would you guys both know Shannon? Would you say Shannon's got a pretty good feel for where schools are on
absolutely
recruiting and NIL?
I really don't know.
No, he's one of the top in valuation. And look, I mean, he's been in pulse on recruiting for decades, and he's built different empires when it comes to recruiting sites, and so. He knows what goes on behind the scenes, no doubt.
So I want to try to find this so I don't misquote him, and here it is. He was at the Sports Business Journalist Conference or whatever in Las Vegas this past week. His 4 quick takes. His first take from Shannon. Wealthy donors who drove early NIL roster value deals for athletes are growing tired at a record rate.
I said that yesterday on the show.
I would be too.
Yeah.
And this is what we've always talked about is Larry Ellison doesn't become a multi-billionaire by giving money away. Larry Ellison becomes a multi-billionaire by investing money on things that are going to make him money.
Yeah, but if I'm a billionaire, I'm not tired. If I'm a millionaire,
you're exhausted.
I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
Well, and that's the thing is like you can, if you're part of these collectives, you can say, hey, look at Texas Tech. But Cody Campbell is a billionaire.
They are.
And there is
now he's a billionaire fan. So sometimes you can hit the jackpot. And
the difference between a billionaire and a millionaire is living and dead, basically. I mean, really, it's night and day.
Yeah.
What's his stake for Ty Simpson? I want to make one point real quick on the table was set for Kalen DeBoer. I said this yesterday when you were out. The All-American team, the AP All-American team was out for the second straight year. Not one first-team AP All-American at Alabama. That's a different feel because it felt like there were multiple ones when Saban was there, and in 2024 there was none. In 2025 there was none. Now some of that could be related to performance on the field. I just believe the talent level though it's still really, really good, not exactly the same. And I think part of that is, we were just talking about the dispersal of talent all over college football.
Yeah, but I still think it's one of the most talented 8 rosters in football. I don't think there's any doubt. I think it is strange that you don't have any first-team All-Americans, and the Big Ten is
one second and 1/3 team.
Big Ten's littered with them. But I want to make this point that I was going to make. First of all, I think Kalen DeBoer still will win a national championship at Bama. This year's going to be tough. Uphill battle. I mean, but I would say this.
It would feel different if they were totally healthy, though, and that's part of the game.
It would, but I go back to last year, and let's not forget, nobody was giving Ohio State any shot. They had scored 10 points against Michigan, didn't play in the Big Ten championship game. They had 252 total yards and 2 turnovers against Michigan. And they go into this playoff, and Ryan Day, give him a lot of credit because he was under. Kalen DeBoer ain't under pressure right now.
Oh, Dave might have gotten fired.
Yeah, Dave. There's a chance he gets fired if he loses that first round of Tennessee.
Absolutely.
He goes in, gets everybody on the same page. They reset it for a new season, and they go out and whip everybody's ass. I don't know if this Bama team's got that in them, but I'm just saying this is a new season. So Kalen DeBoer can put all this behind him, and look, he can't do anything about injuries, but. Look, there's going to be a team in this college football playoff. I know Klatt said the other day, I don't see any team this weekend that can make noise. I think, it's been such a weird season. I think a team this weekend will make a little noise.
Yeah. Coming up later on, Bruce Feldman did a really interesting story at The Athletic to what LT's talking about here, where he polled a couple of dozen Power 4 coaches and anonymously. And he's got a list of things, and one of the questions I will ask you guys to answer. I won't give you the results of the rankings. That's for you to go read at The Athletic with Bruce Feldman. But I'll ask you guys all the questions he asked all the Power 4 coaches, and I want to hear how you answer them. One of them is who could make a run, who could be Cinderella, and who's a fraud. I thought that was an interesting question he asked. I probably will let that one leak out on who the coaches think is the fraud out there. Found that one very interesting. Ty Simpson, what's at stake for Ty Simpson this weekend?
I still think there's an opportunity for Ty to come back. It's amazing, though. Like every mock draft I look at, he's in the first round. And I think a lot of that is just because it is such a light quarterback draft. You got Mendoza, you got Dante Moore more than likely. But after that, like who is that third quarterback? A lot of people believe it's Ty Simpson. Now, if Ty Simpson goes out, and this is the good news for Alabama fans, like if he plays lights out like he did during that 4-game stretch earlier this year, and Alabama makes some noise and wins some games, he's gone. But if Ty Simpson goes out against Oklahoma and really struggles, I mean, he could easily fall from a first to a second, and then he's got a decision to make.
Yeah, I mean, but I also think I don't know what drives Ty Simpson at all, but Ty Simpson could come back next year and be the overall number 1 pick. And I don't know if that's a goal of his in life, but he could certainly do that.
He could. I mean, he was completely off radars, and we had him at one point, or at least some guys had him the number 1 pick at some point this year.
Yeah,
or he could come back and be Garrett Nussmeier or Cade Klubnik.
Yep, that's the challenge. Now,
saw a mock with my Rams taking Nussmeier at 31 yesterday.
That fired you up,
some people still have Nussmeier in the first round.
In the first round.
First round.
Still.
Yeah.
They talk about QBR, combined years. Like it wasn't a great year, but based on all of his body of work, that you can justify his upside.
Yeah, but in fairness, I talk injuries a lot. He did have that hard to throw if your core's not 100%.
As Tua.
Yeah.
But if you're Ty Simpson, if you're guaranteed first round, I mean, you kind of got to come out, right? I think he needs the reps.
It's an easier decision to make now because Ty Simpson could come back to Alabama, make $2.5–3 million next year, and you used to that was not an option for players. This is one of the benefits of NIL that a lot of people don't like NIL. But one way it benefits your school is a lot of times players that automatically would have been to the league before might consider coming back and taking a little money.
But then you lose Keelan then.
Probably. But if I'm guaranteed mid-first round, that is a sweet place to go in the NFL. I'm not going to a crap franchise normally. I'm probably going to a place that's a quarterback away from being a Super Bowl contender in the mid-first round. So I've always thought for a quarterback, that's the sweet spot to go in.
Here's Ty Simpson. He gets asked this question. Really an interesting question because he got to prepare for a playoff under Nick Saban, and now he's preparing for a playoff under Kalen DeBoer. He's the starter now, but he was in the room and in the practices, in the preparation in Nick Saban's last playoff run. So here's Ty Simpson on Saban versus DeBoer playoff time.
You've prepared for playoff games now with Coach Saban and now with Coach DeBoer. What's similar? What's different about the atmosphere in this building?
Really nothing, to be quite honest with you, right? Because one, right, like we're Alabama, we expect to be in the playoffs, and this isn't uncommon to us being in a primetime game like this in a big time environment, and then two, right, like you just prepare like it's another game, you know what I mean? Like you don't do anything differently. We know what's at stake for both teams, right? We kind of have taken it as this is it, right? Like this is the last dance. The 2025 team, like, how are we going to be remembered? Like, this is a new season. Like, it's 0-0. Everybody's 0-0 right now. You win, you advance. So, those I think are very similar from Coach Saban and Coach DeBoer's point of view and perspective, just because, like, we expect to be here and we know what's at stake and we're built for it.
Interesting there that not a whole lot of difference there in the preparation.
We know what's at stake. I mean, we're asking the question, what's at stake for Alabama? What's at stake for Ty Simpson? Ty says we know what's at stake right there. I don't think you come play at Alabama and don't know that these games are why you play at Alabama, and you're expected to win these games, and you're expected to win the next game, and you're expected to win the next game. I mean, when you're a quarterback at a place like Alabama, that's going to be the expectation. I think he knows pressure is going to be there.
Interesting. All of the narratives are on Alabama. Like you mentioned the fact that you saw on a couple of shows this morning where they were all talking. I don't hear anything from Oklahoma. And the crazy thing for Oklahoma is it was a good season getting here for the first time under Venables, but this is the fifth time they've been to the playoffs. You know how many playoff games they've won?
Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Zero?
Zero.
Yeah.
They have never won a college football playoff game, which is crazy. And they have been beaten by an average of, and I know it was skewed a little bit with that LSU just completely curb stomped in the Peach Bowl, but they've been beaten by an average of 18 points per game in those games.
Their best chance was that classic Rose Bowl game against Georgia.
But it progressively got worse for them. They should have won that Rose Bowl game. The next year they play Alabama and Miami. And
that was their second best chance because Tua was hobbled.
Yeah, but they were down 28-0 out of the
And then Kyler played well in the second half.
He did, and they made it respectable, but it was never in doubt. And then the next year, LSU blows the doors off. So it actually progressively got worse for them as they were in the playoffs.
Yeah, so if you're an Oklahoma fan, like, I get that you're excited about being there, but damn, we got to win one of these games sooner than later. We're Oklahoma.
Yeah. But you're right. I mean, I couldn't hear what they were talking about on Get Up. I could only see the graphics. And it was
Alabama.
And then another hit with Jordan Rogers came on, and it was another Alabama question. It was like Alabama. So, well, I mean, almost like one's in the SEC and one's not, but both are SEC teams.
But it's a little bit like the NFL. Like, there'll be how many NFL games this weekend? 16? Dallas is barely even a factor in the NFL right now, but boy, you'll see a lot of Dallas Cowboys talk, right?
No.
I mean,
Alabama's the Cowboys.
Alabama is the number one viewed team on TV this year. ESPN is well aware of that because it's on their own network, and it's a national brand. I mean, Nick Saban turned Alabama into a national brand, so Oklahoma is kind of as great a brand as Oklahoma is. It's a bit of a, an afterthought.
But I do think the interesting narrative is Kalen DeBoer, like this job security. Brent Venables was the guy that has lost. He's only won 6 games in 2 of his 3 years going into this year.
Yeah.
Like, he was the guy that was on the hottest of hot seats this year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.